So once you're done with your massing models, you've probably divvied up the work already. And this is not what you're going to be responsible for individually. You don't each have to do all of these diagrams. You each just have to do one of these diagrams. So here, this is the structural sort of diagram, right? You can see the podium, you can see the garage going below the lot. This is the architecture discipline. You can see all of the parks. You can see on the mechanical one, we have the circulation. We also have the crown with the spaces open for the cooling towers, and then we have a combined one. What I've done for you is I've loaded a file into Canvas. It's called Layout Templates. It's under the Rhino files, Rhino 7. And you can utilize these to get to these diagrams faster than creating all of this stuff yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and go down here to Import Layout, and I'm going to find that file after I download it. And by the way, you need to have the INI files, the diagram by layer, no shadows. You need to have that one downloaded, and that is also on Canvas. If you go to Display Modes under Rhino files, it's diagram by layer, no shadows. But I'm going to go to Import Layout here. You can also run the command Import Layout, but we're going to go to Layout Templates. And this is the first file that I've given you, a layout file that has multiple layouts in it. And so you can just focus on the diagrams if that's all you want to do. But I've also given you a template for the floor plan and a template for the isometrics. I'm going to show the floor plan in another tutorial. It's not required before spring break. Just keep in mind that all of these are going to be in this file. So if you import just the diagram and the template, you have to re-import the file and just decheck the ones you don't want that you already have. I'm going to hit OK here, and it's going to take a second to load all of them. And let's go to the diagram template one. You can get down here on the layouts. You can also type layouts as a command, and you can see which layouts you have. You can see even the size. These are all 11 by 17 sheets of paper. So here is my diagram template, and if I double click into that detail, this is a detail at a 1 to 100 scale, and it's locked. So whenever you double click into it, you can't actually move around inside of it. It just moves the page. And there's a couple ways you can go about starting to create your detail. The first step I would probably do is to create a wireframe model of your building. This is a layer that probably everybody can share, so you only have to do it once. But you can literally just trace the outlines of your building. You can also do this in a perspective mode, so let me go to perspective here. Whoops, I think I have some layers on that I don't need, so let's turn off the site and let's delete that. Right, you could do this in this as well. And a quick trick is to take an early massing or to just redraw this thing as sort of individual boxes and use something like the extract wireframe command. I'm not going to go through all of it now, but just to show you, I just drew two boxes. These might be very similar to your very early massing stage. I'm going to union them so they're actually one object, and I'm going to merge all the faces. And I'll just show you how this looks when I isolate it. I can extract wireframe now, but it will also extract what are called these ISO curves. So I'm going to go to the object properties and turn the ISO curves off. The command is extract wireframe, and I'm already on the wireframe layer. So what that does is if I delete that object, you might have to trim this down with like a trim command, or just move things. And that way, when you go to show it, and we go back to that diagram template, you can start to see these lines show up, right? So that's probably the first step. The next step is to go into your layers and just turn off layers that you don't need. So if I'm the architect, I don't really need the ground floor, back of house stuff. So I could just turn off the individual layer. Now, if you're doing multiple details, it matters more if you're turning off, for the entire model or for your layout. So just pay attention to that if you're doing multiple layouts. If I turn this off here and I go to perspective, it's also going to turn off. So just note that. If you haven't organized your file super well, it's totally fine. it happens. You can see that even here I haven't organized it really well. You can utilize a command called hide in detail. So I'm going to double click into this detail, and let's say I'm the architect, so I don't want to see the top of the crown. I'm going to run the command called hide in detail. And I can do this for a bunch of different objects, right? I can do it for walls, I can do it for lines even, you know, any objects that I don't want to see. I'm just going to go ahead and select it and run the hide in detail command. And that's also a very efficient way. It's still available in your main file because you're just hiding it in the detail. If you select something and you actually hide it, now if I go to my main model, you can see that that goes away. So that's the difference between hide and hide in detail. The last thing I'll mention here is that you can also utilize your work session effectively here. So if you did follow a work session method of collaboration, then you can you'll probably see that all of your other, like Podium will be a file that you've linked in, right? So you can actually detach it and then reattach it, or you can just hide it. Like you can hide all of the layers in that file. And what that will do is that if you go into your diagram and you just modeled the middle part, you can just hide everybody else's stuff. So that is one method as well. You have a backup legend here. So the original legend I gave you on the ground floor plan, these were based on the layers, and you can see that I've actually deleted a couple layers here, and those go away. So this is a backup for you that you can copy and paste to any of your layouts in the future, and these are actually on an annotation layer, which you should have if you've imported the ground floor plan already. It's as a group, so you can ungroup it. You can select these hatches, go to the layers here, and go to the properties of that object. You can see that the print color is set by display, and the display color has been changed to the color that I need it to. If you need to add something here, go ahead and select the legend, just go down to the bottom and do additional element or whatever, and then copy and paste one of these squares down. I would probably copy and paste a hatched square, and I know that I can copy it from there to there just to maintain that distance. The last thing you have to do is select that hatch, go ahead and go to the properties, and we can set our display color. Let's say we wanted to add this blue from maybe I'm missing the residential unit or something. I can go to display color and I can set it as other, and I can use this eyedropper, click and drag over it and hit OK, and you can see that that changes. And now when you print it, it'll be all fine. To print these, all you have to do is do Control P and change this to an image file that has a width of 17 and a height of 11. Keep your resolution at 200 dots per inch, and you can manage the line types and line widths. I push this up to about 2.5, so the lines are a little bit beefier. And make sure you edit the title block as well. That often gets overlooked. So I'll test that one. Let's go to the desktop here and look at it. And there you go. You have a file ready to show us your diagrams.